Now, I wanted to make another video about the best adventure motorcycle for beginners. I made an original video a year or so ago now, or maybe longer, maybe 2 years ago. I made it in my garage with my iPhone, and it was when I'd first bought this bike, and obviously I intended to use it for adventure use, so I titled the video Best Adventure Bike for Beginners. Now, that's my most successful video I've ever published. It's had, I don't know, between 35,000 40,000 views, something like that. And it's had numerous numbers of comments of people either abusing me or telling me I don't know what I'm talking about, because this bike, the Kawasaki KLR 650, is not a beginner's bike. Well, I know that. And the video wasn't supposed to be about the best motorbike for a beginner who's never ridden a bike before. It is meant to be about the best adventure bike for a person who has never been adventure riding before. That's what it was about. So the reason I picked the KLR 650 over and above the fact that I own one is because, as far as adventure bikes go, they're not dirt bikes, they're not trail bikes, they are purpose-built adventure bikes. It's true to say that you can use any bike to go on an adventure with, and that's true. But the category of adventure bikes tends to be the style of motorbikes, which are quite heavy, reasonably big, they're strong, they're able to carry a lot of luggage, they've got a big front wheel, and they're able to, you put knobbly tyres on them and they're able to go pretty much anywhere, as you would in a Land Rover, for example, or an SUV, for example. Now, no one's saying that, well, we'll stick with Land Rover because I've mentioned it. No one's saying that a Land Rover is the best machine, the best four-wheel drive machine for a beginner. I'm just saying that it is typical of the classification, it's typical of the class. And the reason why I chose the Kawasaki KLR 650 as being a good bike, or the best bike for a beginner in the adventure bike category, is because it fits the mold, it fits the category. It's heavy, it's big, it's strong, and it will go pretty much anywhere you point it, as you would expect from any other adventure bike. Now, of course, the main contenders in the adventure bike category are, of course, your BMW bikes. You've got the 650 GS, which is very similar to this in size and weight and what have you. The 800, the F800 GS, BMW. It's heavier than this. You're looking at about, I don't know the exact figures, but over 220 kilos. This is 100 and... well, I was going to say this is 195, and it is stock out of the factory, but by the time you add on, I've got a crash plate and a few other bits and pieces, it adds the weight. So let's say 200 kilos. So that's why it fits into the category. The biggest bike in the category, of course, is the BMW R1200 GS and the GSA, which are built to ride around the world, and they're huge bloody things. Now, they weigh in around the, I don't know exactly the weight, but 250 kilos, you wouldn't be far off the mark. So that's why the KLR is the best adventure bike for beginners, for a person beginning to ride adventure bikes. And the main reason, the overwhelming and resounding reason why you'd buy one of these above anything else, is the price. They are extremely cheap. The other manufacturer that makes adventure bikes, of course, is KTM, and they have the 1050 Adventure, 1190 Adventure, and the 1290 Super Adventure. They also make the 690, which you could call an adventure bike, but it's not really. It's you can convert it to a good adventure bike by putting a longer range tank in it. And I'm not going to discuss the merits of the KTM 690, but it comes into the category as well. It's a single cylinder, similar size engine to this. The difference between this and the bigger bikes is of course horsepower. It's got about 35 horsepower at the rear wheel, single cylinder, and 47 newton meters torque, as compared to the bigger bikes that got around the 100 horsepower. The big GS is 125, and they've got 70, 80, 90 newton meters of torque. So that's the difference. But you know, in terms of learning adventure bike riding skills on a heavy bike, this one fits the bill. So to all those people who criticised me and made derogatory comments and negative comments and called me names, no, I don't care, because you're the stupid ones, because you've missed the point entirely. So this is the reason, and you'll see from this sort of road we're going up now, windy tarmac. It handles it beautifully. The big front wheel, 21-inch front wheel, there's a little bit of verse to going around corners at high speeds. At this speed, there's no trouble at all. And on the highway, she tends to be fairly sluggish. It'll do. I've got a bigger front sprocket on this, and it'll do 130 k's on the highway, okay. But when it comes to corners, you really have to make sure your counter steering is on point, because it's hard to get that big 21-inch front wheel to break its inertia and lean over. It's not possible. I find it quite easy because I'm used to it. But if you come off a sports bike and jump on one of these, you'll wonder why on earth it won't go around the bloody corner. It's simply because of the inertia of the front wheel. And that's it, really.